So we do have some good news. The expectation is that prices here in the United States are going to start to fall very soon. But exactly when and how much are currently unclear. According to the Trump administration, they are doing everything in their power to ensure that the United States is affordable, meaning price for food, price for housing, prices for energy, everything is going to come down. Now, I'm telling you this while reports like this are currently out. It says U.S. sentiment remains dim, with consumers facing higher prices and weaker incomes. One of the issues we have faced here in the United States is that we are seeing our income is not going up with inflation. We are actually seeing it fall behind. It's lagging, and that's a problem. But at the same time, prices on everything are going up, which is why many people say we need more money. But at the same time, the Trump administration is saying, well, we can try to give you a little bit more money by reducing your taxes, but we are going to have to produce more energy, which means more oil, and we need to get rid of some of the bigger problems in the entire world, which means we are going to tackle the Russia-Ukraine war, which is causing more inflation. Look at this right here. It says, Ukraine faces difficult choice as Trump demands acceptance of the peace deal. You may not know this, but President Trump, his party put together a 28-step peace deal. Okay, I want to read something to you. It says, President Vladimir Zelensky warned on Friday that Ukraine risks losing its dignity and freedom, or Washington's backing over a U.S. peace plan that endorses key Russian demands. Says the U.S. president told Fox News Radio he believed Thursday was an appropriate deadline for Kyiv to accept the plan, confirming what two sources told Reuters. It says Washington's 28-point plan calls on Ukraine to cede territory, accept limits to its military, and renounce ambitions to join NATO, all of which is what Russia wanted. It says it also contains some proposals Moscow may object to and requires its forces to pull back from some areas that they have captured, according to the draft seen by Reuters. Now, this could be big if the United States can get Russia and Ukraine to accept this peace plan and move forward with it. This is going to bring prices down, specifically on energy. And I say this because this conflict between Ukraine and Russia has pretty much put the entire oil and gas markets in jeopardy. Because what the United States did is they placed sanctions on Russia and placed sanctions on other countries that are purchasing Russian oil. And as a result, oil prices have gone up. Well, when we heard that there was a peace plan currently being talked about and discussed, oil prices dropped. So that would be good, meaning prices on everything goes down. Now, this also includes food, not just because the oil price between the trade between Russia and Ukraine, but Russia and every other country, but Russia and Ukraine are both major global suppliers in grain. Okay, I believe in edible oils or something like that as well, but grain is the big one. Now, this is why this is such a big deal, because they're still working on this at this time. But I want to read something else to you. It says why Trump's tariff rollback won't lower grocery prices right away. I want to read this to you. Right here. It says President Donald Trump announced on November 14th that his administration is rolling back select tariffs on items including coffee, beef, cocoa, bananas, and he faces blowback for higher grocery prices. But that doesn't mean those prices are coming down anytime soon. It says the reason is inventories. The food and commodities that have risen in price were purchased and imported under higher tariffs and stored in warehouses. Consumers haven't seen the really big impact of any inflation yet because it is sitting in the middle mile, also known as warehouses and distribution centers. Okay, says retailers and logistics experts have already warned that the damage to operating margins has been done. The inflation will be felt once those items are on the store shelves. It says now these products are going into store shelves and retailers need to sell at higher prices to recoup costs. And I said this the other day, and I was very clear on this, where we are not going to see the prices fall down. They're not going to roll back until the new inventory comes in. And I said this as well, that President Trump is saying that he's going to roll back tariffs, and that's great. We've seen tariffs on items from Switzerland go from 39% to 15%. That's great. But for the items from Switzerland that are already here in the United States, that are sitting in our shelves, that are in the warehouses, those prices aren't falling, okay? Because those items have already been purchased with the tariffs already in place. Meaning, we're not going to see the prices roll back until the new inventory comes in. And according to reports, for food-related items, it's likely going to be several weeks. Okay, not just a couple of days. It will be several weeks. And here's the other problem. What we are facing right now is the holiday season. This is the time of year where we don't see discounts on food. This is when food items become more expensive. So the food is going to become more expensive because of supply and demand. That's one issue. The second issue is we have to wait several weeks, potentially more than a month, in order to see this tariff savings that the Trump administration has pushed through. So we'll figure out what happens there. I want to read something else to you though. Look at this. It says, although turkey prices are lower, most Thanksgiving Day food costs are higher than last year. And it's because of things like, the fruits, the vegetables, the pies, the drinks, okay? All that stuff is more expensive. The turkey is not actually more expensive. Look at this right here. It says, AFBF says whole milk prices are up 16.3%, sweet potatoes are up 37%, and carrots and celery are up a whopping 61.3%. However, the cost of the most important item for a traditional Thanksgiving meal, the turkey, is actually down about 16.3%. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine about this right here. Sweet potatoes being up 37%. Carrots and celery are up a whopping 61.3%. I asked him why. Why? Because he does grow carrots. And I asked him, why are carrots so expensive? He said the carrots aren't the thing that are expensive. It's the labor that is expensive. And what they found in California specifically, and again, I only have a few friends that have farms outside of the state of California, but for the ones in California, they said the reason it's so expensive is because of labor. Not tariffs, because of labor. What we are finding right now is that we are seeing immigration and customs enforcement. They're going into many of these farms and going to a lot of these ranches, and what they're doing is they're putting pressure on the owner, but also the workers. And so what my friend was saying is he can't get any of his normal workers back. What they're doing is they're staying home. They don't want to come to the farm. They don't want to come and work. They'd love to, but they're not going to do that because they are at risk of being deported. And then I asked him, I said, so you have people that are working illegally? He said, no. That these are people that are here legally, here in the United States. They have paperwork, but they're concerned that it doesn't matter if they have paperwork just because they came during the Biden administration. They're concerned the Trump administration is going to send them back no matter what. So they're not going to show up. So his only way he can actually get the carrots out of the ground is if he does it himself, or his second option, and really his only option, is he's going to hire people that were born here in the United States, American citizens. The problem is they cost quite a bit more, meaning the cost to get the carrots out of the ground is more expensive, meaning your costs are going up as well. So the one thing I can tell you at this time is that grocery prices will eventually come down. The only problem is right now we're in that little window where we don't know how much they're coming down or how quickly they're going to go up, but we do know eventually things will settle. So that's the good news. Prices will eventually come down on food items, but it will likely be after the Thanksgiving holiday. So as we get more information on that, I promise I'll bring you all the latest news and updates as soon as we get it. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.